Jim Rohn, an author and motivational speaker, said this: "We all must suffer from one of two pains, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. The difference is discipline weighs ounces while regret weighs tons." And if the only laboratory for testing this quote was in the arena of writing, okay, it's 100% true. If you want to be a writer, the thing you have to get good at is discipline. And today we're going to talk about 6 tips that I use to help me stay disciplined, and I hope they will be helpful to you. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like if you find value, subscribe if you haven't done that, ring the bell if you want to be notified. Be sure to check out some links below, they might be helpful to you. Let's jump in. I'm sure you know what self-discipline is, and you might even be already convinced that you need self-discipline to be a writer. I mean, you're sitting by yourself, there's no one accountable, it's just you gotta do it. The antithesis to discipline, though, is motivation. And a lot of new writers, and experienced ones for that matter, think that all you really need is motivation. Like, if I could just get the right motivation, if I could be motivated enough, I'll sit down in the chair and write. And positive motivation, yeah, it does help you do that. I mean, positive motivation, butts in the chair. Negative motivation, you skip the chair. Discipline, your butt's in the chair. You're always in the chair. Why? Because you're disciplined. You show up when you have to show up because you're supposed to show up. It's part of your discipline. Discipline is constant. I mean, motivation, it's kind of fickle, right? I mean, if I'm not feeling it or whatever, it kind of comes and goes. But discipline, it's always there. And as a writer, you need to cultivate discipline. So I'm going to give you 6 tips, things that I've used to help me cultivate discipline in my own life and in my own writing life. And a couple of them may not sound normal. This will make sense because the first one doesn't. The first way to cultivate discipline is this: make your bed every day. Now, I know that sounds kind of weird, right? That has nothing to do with writing unless you're sitting in your bed writing. Hopefully not. I'll get to that. But you want to cultivate discipline. So one of the first things you can do is right when you get out of bed, do something disciplined. Just set the tone for the day. Do one simple thing. It doesn't take you long to make your bed. Just do the one thing. One thing leads to another, leads to another, leads to another. The thing with discipline is it needs to permeate your life. Like, you can't just be disciplined in part of your life and not another part of your life. You're either disciplined in your life or you're not. So start off your day doing something discipline. It will start to spill over into other things, especially if you're not disciplined in any other aspect of your life. Start small. Because if you're not disciplined in other parts of your life, how can you expect that you're going to be disciplined in kind of a hard craft of writing? That you're going to sit down every day for an hour, 2 hours, 30 minutes, whatever it is, that you're going to do that every day? I don't know. Like, that's going to be a tough row to hoe. So what you want to do is start cultivating discipline in all aspects of your life. So my very first tip, just when you get up, just make your bed. I know it sounds simple. I know it doesn't have anything to do with writing. The problem is, if you're not disciplined in other parts of your life, you're going to have trouble integrating it into your writing. So just start trying to work discipline into other aspects of your life and start by making your bed. A second way to cultivate discipline is to establish routines. Now, one of those can be just setting a time to write. So, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you write this time, Tuesday, Thursday, you write this time, Saturdays this time, Sundays you take off. Like, whatever it is, you're setting time to write. You're establishing a routine. But the routine doesn't start and stop when you write. The routine kind of should spill over a little bit. Let me give you an example. So when I'm working on a new script, so I'm working on a new spec script, one of the things I will do in my planning is I actually create a playlist. So I find songs that match the theme or the tone or the feel of the movie that I'm trying to write. And what I'll do is about an hour or so before I sit down to write, I start listening to the playlist. It's part of my routine. And what it does is it helps my brain show up. Because my whole brain starts thinking like, ooh, we're going to be writing here in a little bit. I better kind of start to get ready just by listening to the playlist over and over and over again. Other elements of a routine might be having a specific place to write. Don't write where you're doing something else. Okay, so don't write sitting in your bed. Don't write necessarily at your desk unless that's all you're doing there. I mean, if you're doing other work at your desk, you don't really want to write at your desk. The problem is you want to be able to mentally separate your writing time from everything else. So I want to spend time writing, so I'm going to have a specific place to write. Now, maybe you're kind of limited in your spaces, so maybe you can't really do that. Here's a couple of other options. Change the lighting setup, change how you dress, change the type of chair you sit in. Just little things like that to create a routine help you be a little more disciplined. It helps you show up to write. It gives you something to look forward to. And it gives you just some specific focus that when I'm doing these things, if I'm sitting in this chair, in this place, in this lighting setup, wearing these particular house shoes, okay, I'm writing. So whatever you need to do to kind of create that atmosphere, you should do it because it helps you create a routine. It gives you something to look forward to, gives you a set place to do something and a specific time to do it. So number 2, establish a routine. A third tip for cultivating discipline in your writing is have a measurable and reachable goal and don't get up until you meet it. If you're just starting out and you create this goal of I'm going to write 10 pages every day, okay, that might be a little far reaching for you. Honestly, for me, I tend to write like 4 to 5 pages, give or take. I more do it like by scenes. I'm going to write 2 to 4 scenes every time I sit down to write. And if I'm writing that, if I sit down to write, I'm going to write 2 to 4 scenes and I'm not getting up till I'm done with that. So I'll futz with them, I'll fix them, write 2 to 4 scenes, then I get up. Doesn't matter if it takes me 30 minutes or an hour, whatever. So set a reachable and manageable and measurable goal for yourself to reach. If you find that you're not reaching it, okay, you might have an unrealistic expectation for where you're at. Or if you've set aside time, like say you set aside an hour to write, but you keep reaching your goal within 30 minutes, well, then set a higher goal, right? If you want to work for an hour, then set a more challenging goal for yourself and try to reach that goal and don't get up until you reach it. That's part of self-discipline, okay? If you're going to say, I'm going to write at this time, okay, what are you going to write? Well, I'm going to write this. Okay, then write that. Whatever it is. So number of pages, number of scenes, however you want to measure it, but it should be measurable so that you know you achieved it or not. And one other tidbit with goals is goals help keep you accountable. I mean, screenwriting is a long game. Like, it takes a long time, not just to write it and then fix it and get it where you can try to get it out there, but it may not sell right away. I mean, it may take a long time. And if you're just starting out, it's going to take you a long time just to get your scripts to the level that they need to be before you can start sharing them around where people are going to start paying attention to what you're writing. So having some goals helps keep you accountable. It helps keep you moving forward in the journey. So having goals, good thing, keeps you accountable. You want to do that. And this element of accountability plays into the 4th tip I want to give you, which is have people in your life that hold you accountable. Now, this might be just a friend or a couple of people that you know that you're close to that you just like, hey, I need you to ask me every week how my writing's going and where I'm at. Did I reach my goals? Things like that. Just kind of help hold me accountable. This helps you stay disciplined because if you know other people are going to check in on you, well, you're going to try to make sure you're doing that. It gives you a little outside motivation, right? Motivation, though it's fickle, but it gives you a little bit of outside motivation to kind of stay disciplined and keep doing those things that you need to be doing. But outside people don't have to necessarily be your friends. I mean, it could be a writer's group or some people online that you've met that's like, hey, can we just kind of hold each other accountable? Can we just check in, every week, every couple of weeks and just kind of see what's going on? Or, I'm trying to reach this many pages every couple of weeks, so am I getting there? Just help hold me accountable. And it kind of helps build in some feedback for when you're ready for some feedback. So having outside people can also help you stay disciplined because now there's somebody else looking on. It's like, okay, I need to do these things because they're expecting, and if they ask me, I'm going to have to tell them, and etc. So just having other people in your life helps you stay disciplined just a little bit more. So if you need that kind of motivation, it can be really helpful. There are times in my life where I've had outside accountability and other times where I haven't. When I started writing, I really needed it. The more I get into writing, the less I need it, and the more I just need feedback from people. So I still cultivate those relationships, but I don't really have people right now in my life that hold me accountable for the discipline of writing, because I'm pretty disciplined with it. When I'm sitting down to work on something, I kind of work through it because I'm incorporating a lot of these other things. A fifth tip I will give you to cultivate discipline is this: self-care. Make sure you are taking time for some self-care. Now, this one kind of feels like it's not really related to writing, because honestly, you shouldn't be writing when you're doing this. Like, this is the get outside and get some sunlight, right? Exercise a little bit. Saying you have to go on some, to the gym 4 hours a day or whatever crazy like that. Like, if you want to do that, knock yourself out, but that's not me. But I do need something, right? I need something to do where I can care for myself. I need to mentally care for myself. I want to read things, I want to watch things, I want to hang out with friends, I want to spend time with my family. I want to do all of those things because I need that. And if I'm spending time doing the other things that I need to do to care for myself, that helps me stay disciplined. Because the problem is, if I am having trouble staying disciplined, right, because I'm trying to get these things done, I'm not spending the time doing the other things that I would really like to do. So you want to make sure that you are incorporating things that you like to do in your normal everyday walk around life. Spending time with people, eating some healthy foods, like eat some vegetables every once in a while. You don't have to eat broccoli, because just no. But eat some vegetables every once in a while. Doing those things will make it more easy for you to stay disciplined. My last tip to help you cultivate discipline in your life is going to kind of sound a little contrary. Don't celebrate workaholism. I, by nature, am kind of a workaholic. If I start working on something, I just work and work and work and work and work. I don't really want to stop. It's hard for me to stop. Part of being disciplined, yes, we talked about having a time to write, like I'm going to start writing here. But part of discipline is also stopping when you should stop. It's stopping when you reach that goal. Stopping when you've met the pages you wanted to write. Just stop. That's part of discipline. I'm only going to work on it here. If I want to work on it longer, I can, but I'm going to plan that in and I'm going to be disciplined with that. But what's not helpful in discipline long term is to constantly go overboard. So if I'm only planning to work for an hour a day and I end up, writing and I'm really loving it, like, ooh, I'm going to just keep writing, and I write for another hour. Okay. Like, if you do that every once in a while, that's fine. But if you start doing that every day, now you're writing for 2 hours, then you start feeling like, well, maybe I should write for 3 because I'm getting a lot done. So then you start writing for 3, but now what's happening is you're impacting self-care. Now you're impacting your relationships with other people. Now it's going to make it more difficult for you to want to be disciplined, because you had planned to get up early in the morning to write, but you're staying up late writing or doing things with friends because you wrote too long the day before, and now you don't want to get up the next day. It just kind of starts to create a domino effect. So one of the things you want to do is make sure you're not celebrating workaholism in your own life. When you start, yes, that's part of discipline, but stopping, that's also part of discipline. So have your goal. When you reach it, stop. If you feel like you need more challenging goals, set more challenging goals. If you need more time, if you want to spend more time, then set more time. But when the end is the end, then stop. Don't celebrate workaholism. Don't feel like, ooh, I've just got to write. No, you don't. Stay healthy. That helps you to stay disciplined long term. Remember, screenwriting is a long game, so you want to be disciplined over the long term. And really what discipline boils down to is balance. If you can set your life in such a way where you are balanced, okay, so you may have another job, and because you're not writing full time, so you've got another job, you've got friends and family, you want to write, you've got to find a balance. And the best way to find a balance is to be disciplined about it. So you're disciplined about when you show up to your regular job, discipline for your writing time. Make sure you're having time for self-care, spend time with family, spend time with friends, live life first, write second. And if you can do that, it's going to be much easier to stay disciplined. Hopefully this has been helpful to you. If it has, please be sure to like, subscribe, bell, all of those things. I really appreciate it. There's some links below. Be sure to check those out, especially the screenwriting fast track. So if you're new to screenwriting and you just want to kind of like get ahead of the game, it's kind of the class that I wish I'd have had when I started out. So be sure to check that out if that's of interest to you. Thank you again for watching. When you go to tell a story that matters. See you later.